Ladies and gentlemen, our theme partner for INFOCOM 2017 is Ericsson Global Services India. Our theme partner is proud to present the theme session on the digital transformation. We are very privileged to have with us our esteemed theme keynote speaker, Mr. Amitabh Ray, Managing Director, Ericsson Global Services India. But before I call him on to the dais, let me say a few words to introduce him. As Managing Director of Ericsson India Global Services and Head of Global Services Center, located across the globe, Mr. Amitabh Ray is responsible for managing operations for all the centers. Prior to this, he worked as the Head of Strategy and Portfolio Function of Ericsson's Global Services Business Unit. Having experience in working on global assignments in corporate strategy, management consulting, program and engagement management, change management and systems integration, Mr. Ray has developed and managed a diverse group of clients in both private and government sectors in Asia, Europe and the United States. Before joining Ericsson, Mr. Amitabh worked as Vice President in IBM, where his key responsibilities were managing the growth of the delivery centers across the world. As a partner at PwC during his tenure, he headed the 3 largest strategic business units and was also responsible for delivering offshore services to PwC customers worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together in welcoming our theme keynote speaker, Mr. Amitabh Ray.
Good morning, everybody. It's a privilege to be here once again in INFOCOM 2017. And I'd like to take the opportunity to thank ABP Group for organizing this wonderful event in Kolkata. So this year, the theme is all about digital. And I'm sure over the next 2-3 days, you'll hear enough about digital. Dr. Kumar before me presented in a nice way that what digital means and what kind of impact it's making in our lives. So I will start with what digital is, but then I'll try to see that, on the life side, the impact. I'll discuss that a little more than on the business side, because you'll be hearing about digital and its impact on business for many, many hours. So the age of digital transformation, and that's the theme, that what it means for general public like us, the digital transformation. The age of digital means a very different kind of consumer behavior is being addressed by technology. You have already heard from my previous esteemed speaker that in digital world, that people are behaving in a very different manner, and companies are also reacting to that and coming up with solutions which are very much different, not the product, but the solution. So if you look at what is happening around the world, then you will see that already all of us, perhaps, started living our life in the digital world. Over 80% people, US consumers, and this is a study we have done in the US to study their consumer behavior, and we found that over 80% are already using digital channels for procuring the product they want. 75% of those people are saying that consumers will do business with people who are giving them good experience. It means that we will not do business with you if you cannot provide the right kind of experience to us. 42% of in-shop shoppers are already, before going to the shop, looking at the products in the digital channel and deciding what to buy. So there are tons of such data available, which basically tells us that the era of digital technology has arrived, and we started already living our life in the digital world. But then what is different being a digital company and a regular company, brick and mortar company? I believe the only difference is both the companies can use technology, but in the era of being digital, the companies today are putting consumers in the center. Earlier, the companies used to create a product create some kind of services, and that used to be in the center of everything. And then to sell that product, to sell that service, how can you make it better? You connect it to consumers, you connect it to the various agencies. But today, the difference is you first put your consumer in the middle, and then you decide everything else. A lot of companies in today's digital era, very, very successful companies, they don't have any product to sell. They don't manufacture anything. They just ensure that they put the consumer preferences, consumer need in the center, and they capture the market. So that's what I call is being digital. That in digital world, you put the consumer in the center and you work everything in and around that. And there can be hundreds of such examples we can talk here, and I'm sure you will hear those examples. Examples like what happens with companies like Uber, or what happens in companies like Apple in the music industry, how they transform the industry. So let's take this as an example. And being digital is nothing new. I believe when the first computer was invented, we started our journey towards being digital. Because computers works with bits and bytes. And this is a nice thing we heard about being digital in 1995. Nicholas Negroponte, this world-renowned professor in MIT, first time defined digital in his own way. So he said, let's divide the world in two. And in those days, digital was not a very common phenomenon or a terminology. So he said, in bits and atoms. Atoms are business which you can touch and feel, things you can touch and feel. And digital, or the bit, is which goes through the internet, which goes through the computer. And this was, I believe, the simplistic way of explaining how these two different worlds are divided today between bits and atom. So you can now, from here, take examples of Uber. That's a atom industry, bit industry. Traditional taxis are atom industry, right? And how this digital has disrupted the atom industry, I don't need to explain it to you. My previous speaker talked about, and I'm sure you will hear time and again. Another example is the music industry. We started as a young kid, listening to music in radios. And then from there, we saw records, cassettes, CDs. You can pretty much say that these are part of the atom, a non-digital form. And then we saw Apple came up with an idea saying that first time they said, we will put 10,000 songs in your pocket. The wonderful invention of a small gadget. Totally disrupted the world. And how they did it? They put the consumer in the middle. They realized what consumer wants. They want to be mobile with their music. They can't carry the large record players and CD libraries. They came up with that. The world has progressed and moved on since then. Today, we talk about live streaming. Even people are not using those small gadgets in their pocket. They're doing the live streaming using their mobile phone. So that's how that particular industry, music industry, moved from atoms to bit and became digital. And what kind of impact it created in the business. And why we are talking about being digital is so important today. So this one chart will basically explain that. Over last 15 years, this is what happened to the industry. We just looked at, from market cap perspective, 5 largest companies in the world. And the companies who live their life in atom world, and the companies in green live their life in the world of bits or digital. There used to be one company until recently, and all the atoms disappeared, being the largest of the company in terms of market cap. So this is the actual transformation is happening if you look at it from the business side. Tremendous change, and a lot of companies in the legacy era are struggling to migrate into the world of atoms or trying to be digital. First time in history, perhaps we'll have $1 trillion market cap company which Apple might hit sometime soon. And that is the impact. So digital transformation is, of course, changing our lives. It's also changing the way we do business. And a biggest differentiator has become the biggest differentiator between other companies in the same industry. No longer the oil companies are the most valuable from market cap perspective. It is the digital company. Those are making real impact. So, but as I said, that again, that we'll be discussing, debating the impact of being digital over the next couple of days. How it's making our business look very different. How consumer behavior or the pattern is changing, and how digital transformation is actually impacting our life. But I'll stop here from discussing the business side, that angle. Because I said that how it's going to impact our life. And I'll move to a different subject, which is how digital is going to impact human being from inside. Last year in INFOCOM, we discussed about exponential growth in technology. We talked about Moore's law, and we talked about how technology powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning are changing so rapidly and making everything around us very different. We talked about that very soon, perhaps, we'll reach a stage where machines will become more and more intelligent than human beings. Some of you were there last year, perhaps you'll recall. We talked a little bit on singularity. So let's see how that digital part is going to impact us. So from digital business to digital human, digital or the computer technology powered with AI and machine learning will perhaps become the biggest change agent we will see over the next couple of decades. And the impact will be not in outside business environment, but in inside of all of us. So next few charts, I'll talk about how much science fiction it might look like. You might believe, you might not believe, but think about it, do some research work. Today, each of us have net connection, and something to think about over the next few days. The final frontier of digital technology is transforming humans. Enter the era of singularity. As I said, that last year I stood here and I talked about that we are going to hit singularity very soon, when machine will become more powerful. And the day it happens, every 18 months it will become twice more intelligent than human being, and few hundred times more intelligent than human being in the next 5 to 6 years. Remember, I talked about exponential move. What happens, because machine are learning in exponential manner, human are not. So as a race, we are going to hit this point. And today I can say just in 1 year how much it changed. People are predicting 2030 or 2029, and which is all of us perhaps will see, is the time when we'll hit singularity. Singularity means in technology world that machine will become as intelligent as we are. And we worry after that what happens, and there are a lot of debate happening. You know, people like Elon Musk talking in MIT saying that, look, we are inviting demons. by empowering machine with artificial intelligence. If we don't have proper laws and rules, it will be difficult for us to survive. And we can talk on this subject over a few days. But today, I'll just try to give you a glimpse. So singularity we are going to hit by 2029 or 2030, and that is the day when machines will become as intelligent as human beings. The question is, how do we tackle that? Because we will stay there in terms of our intelligence, and in next 18 months, they will become twice intelligent than us. They will drive us. No doubt about it. They will drive us. By 2035, 2034, people in this room who will be alive, you will see that you will be driven every day by a machine. So we are entering the era of singularity. And this is for sure. But it takes us to the next level. This digital technology is going to make human immortal. And that's what I want to talk today. Perhaps we are the last generation to die. And as I said, I know people are smiling. It's okay. But maybe in the next 5 years, you'll see the research in this area will reach a level we'll start believing this. Perhaps we are the last generation to die. For many, many years, for hundreds and thousands of years, people asked for immortality. If you look at the ancient stories of Indian hermits, if you look at Egyptians, and everybody always wanted to become immortal. But they could not. Even Pitamaha Vishwa had to die. But perhaps in the first time in our life we are noticing there is an opportunity digital technology is going to make us immortal. Let's see how. So we are at the brink of virtual immortality. And this concept is not new. I heard it about 12 years back or 10 years back from one of my colleagues. He frequently comes here. Dr. Prithvish Mukherjee used to work with me. And one day he came to my office very excited and said, guess what? I found a website there I can make my avatar. This was the very primitive days of making a digital clone of yourself and keep it in the cyber world. Second Life exists today as well. You can go and play on this site. You can make your digital avatar. And guess what? Tomorrow this will be powered by artificial intelligence, machine learning. Perhaps after you and I die, my digital avatar will still keeping with my talking to my friends, will Skype with some family members and friends. They will perhaps never understand that I don't exist anymore. Can happen, right? This is very easy example of digital technology giving us immortality. But this is easy. This is already there. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about real immortality. What is driving this? Convergence of genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, and regular technology powered with machine learning and artificial intelligence is driving this. Very soon, all of us will become hybrid human. Remember, again, I discussed this last year, that in 20 years, there will be chip implanted inside our body. And I'm going to talk about that today, because in 1 year, the progress is so phenomenal. And this is happening now. Take example. Today, we can use 3D printers to print heart, kidney, liver. Technology exists. Genetic engineering is allowing us to cut the back part of the gene from the sequence so that you will not have diseases which will make you die. This is happening. People are already hybrid. Ford is coming up with their suit which makes people more effective. RFID chip implant. The body will carry ID or passport, and that some chip can go inside your brain. But yes, genome sequencing and all. So this is not about only information technology. It's about a couple of industries converging together. And the opportunity we see is phenomenal. And it is a little bit of scary at some point in time. There are a lot of debate, discussion going on with extremely influential and important people. That is it the right thing? Science is driving. Are we trying to become God? Or we should stop it? But each of these technology exists today and in a very advanced stage of research and development. Now, if we combine everything, now let's see what is going to happen. I can store my life's information as data, my experiences as data. You can sit in front of a bot and talk through it. And again, we don't have too much time today here, but if you are interested to get in touch, and I'll point you towards the places where you'll see that people, how they are telling the bots what to do, how they are teaching them about their life's experience, and that bot it looks like human, use the material that makes them feel like human, and behaving like you. Now what happens if I can brain dump everything in here to a microprocessor, and that microprocessor I can connect to the cloud. So I can create a replica of my brain in the cloud. And yes, you think that, okay, this guy didn't sleep well last night, so coming here and saying all this. Look at this. Scientists kind of reached a place that they will be able to upload humanity into a computer. Look at what this guy is saying. I'm a big believer in what he says, because he is a visionary in technology. Created a company this year called Neuralink, and he will connect the brains with computers. And he said, I can upload your brain in cloud, and you can download it. And we are not far away. You will see it, each of you, in your lifetime, that this is going to happen. They will implant a chip inside your brain. Now, move from Elon Musk. Let's talk about what the other guys are talking about. Ray Kurzweil, people who research technology. This name is very, very familiar. A guy who perhaps holds the most number of patents. He is the chief scientist of Google. He has invented many, many things. According to him, human will be hybrid by 2030. So what Elon Musk is saying, what other Silicon Valley startups are talking about, that we will make human hybrid by 2030, which is not far away. Some companies are saying in 30 years, in 3 decades. Let's go by that pessimistic target. But they are saying human will be hybrid. And Ray Kurzweil again said to CNN that is the time when perhaps death will become optional. Very interesting topic. But that's the technology companies. That's how they are trying to achieve. And there are many, many companies trying to do it in a very, very different way. So biological scientists, they came up and they experimented on worms that they believe with genome technology, usage of that, they will make human live for 500 years. And they think that they have that technology today. Okay? They have experimented on worms, and they factored in 1 year of worm's life is equivalent to how many years of human life, and that, therefore, they came up with this. Now let's look at how are the companies reacting to it. Some of the Silicon Valley companies, Humane. They have a different concept. They said that, okay, we can freeze your brain and transplant it and move it to another body. So if your brain is alive and can be moved, you'll stay alive. And they think they can make death obsolete in 3 decades. Go to Humai.com. Have a look. These are companies being funded by top VCs. These are not, hocus-pocus companies. In US today, we're talking about the impact of digital. I saw a number. Staggering 40% of investment, capital investment in US happens in technology today. Can you believe it? That includes all the money they are spending for sending people to Mars, making ports, roads. 40% of countries' investment is in technology. What it tells you? That return on investment on technology is higher than return on investment on anything else, anywhere you spend your capital. And those monies are coming through startups, and people are working on it. And people started believing it. There are people started freezing their bodies, and there's another technology available, but that's not foolproof yet, because it's creating problem. Because they can, so people who are dying early. There was one person in UK went to the court and said, I want to freeze my body with nitrogen, and it was not allowed, but he was dying so young, government allowed him. He said, today technology does not exist, but I believe that tomorrow there will be technology which will make people immortal, and please allow me, and court allowed him to freeze his body. People are believing it. Go to the another one. Eternimi.com. Open for business. You can register your name and become a member. They are using a different technology to make people immortal. Russian government and a lot of entrepreneurs, led by one of the richest billionaire in Russia, started a project a couple of years back called 2045. Again, go to web and check 2045.com. Interestingly, 45,000 members are already there. They registered their name to become immortal. So they said that we will start in 4 different steps, Avatar A to Avatar D. They said, today we have a technology perhaps a little smarter than Second Life, I talked about, can make an avatar. And then they said, step by step, by 2035, they will reach an area where they will be able to make Avatar D, which is your exact clone. It behaves like you, it talks like you, it thinks like you, it has a brain like you. So guess what? With all this happening around us, and we are talking about digital here, so what is the ultimate impact of digital? Tomorrow you'll see the death is optional. And this is what is going to happen. And I was not a believer, trust me, about a month back, when I started thinking of digital technology and what kind of impact it will have in human life. I started studying a lot, because first time I was exposed to this about a year and a half back. I discussed with a couple of colleagues and started working at, looking at a lot of research happening in this area. But the change is so fast and so rapid that today, standing here, I really believe that perhaps we are going to be the last generation to die, and death is going to become optional. So then you'll have to answer this question. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amitabh Ray. We request you to kindly remain on stage for just a couple of more minutes. May I request Mr. Didi Prakastha, Managing Director and CEO, ABP Private Limited, and Chairman, INFOCOM, to kindly come forward and present a memento to Mr. Amitabh Ray. Thank you very much, sir, for this very interesting session. And please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Amitabh Ray.